There was some song I wanted to sing, and I don't remember what it was. Stinks. This is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 AD, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. And we're going to have a fun Tuesday show. Well, Friday TV is going to happen after Hake today, and then American Anchor Baby. Some more Israel propaganda, some of it to revisit. Greta Thunberg, Israel, Hamas, Palestine mess. Propaganda on many sides, for and against. I have a David Pakman clip to share with you guys. And meanwhile, in America, synagogue president was stabbed to death over the weekend. Wow, around her home, at her house. I still don't know what the details are. I haven't really looked into it, but I have the picture of her. It's a woman. It throws me off every time. A little follow-up on that Jewish Reddit post that I checked out. I guess I shared it with you guys on Friday. Somebody else, another Christian, mentioned how the Christians support Israel, you know? And pro-Israel boomers, a poll. Some calls to get to. Matt Walsh on anti-white, oh, let it slide, versus anti-Semitism, shut it down. You know, Nikki Haley acting like, oh, we're not going to fund college campuses that are anti-Semitic, but we'll fund them as long as they're anti-white. Interesting. And Trump versus the turncoats. And by the way, I have a 9/11 building that I want to show to you guys. Little 9/11 building, World Trade Center buildings, little diagram drawing of it. I'm like, of course Building 7 went down. Duh. You guys acting like, how could it topple? Whatever. And I have a little bit on this speaker fight. Okay? The speaker fight. I'm not really that interested, but Trump retweeted or retruthed Laura Loomer. You know that gal? I covered her yesterday. Tying this one rhino to George Soros. What? So anyway, all that, and hopefully your calls, guys, if you'd like to call in. Some of you already on hold. But anyway, everybody, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I just reset the Odyssey, ODYSEE.com / the Hake Report feed, because I noticed that I didn't hear the audio coming out of the Odyssey feed. I'm live on various platforms, everybody. Kick.com / the Hake Report. Rumble.com / the Hake Report /live. Twitter, which is now X. YouTube, D-Live. Shout out to the D-Live redheaded stepchildren. I treat them poorly. And Facebook crew, the faithful few, some of them not so faithful, apparently, maybe. Well, one of them I banned for being a sleaze, but he's in the YouTube chat, so welcome back, UK foreigner. And Twitch, I'm even on Twitch, and of course, TalkStream Live. Those of you listening on the TalkStream Live and the listen line, that's cool. Shout out to you guys. Let me get to a call before we get going. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing my Jesse Lee Peterson 2024 t-shirt. This t-shirt was sent by a fan and friend of the show, I guess. And it inspired a nice design on the Fallen State Teespring store. So you can go to rebuildingtheman.com /stores, where we have all the various t-shirt stores. Nice. But David in Ocala, Florida is on the line. You guys know and love David, don't you? If you love anybody. What's up, David? How are you doing?
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon to you. For you. Unless you're in Central Time. Ocala.
Yeah, it's 12. It's 12 here.
All right.
A little after 12.
Nice.
Hey, I wanted to call you before I get going. Hey, I wanted to tell William from California happy birthday, buddy.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and you told him he was Generation X, but he's a boomer, dude, because I think he was born in like 60.
Oh, okay.
Remember that cutoff is 64 for them. Yeah, so I'm, Generation X. Anyway, I called because you had some people you've been having people calling you up bashing Trump.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, like yesterday.
And I'm like, I mean, what do you want? I mean, I guess, listen, before Trump got in office, I could go to McDonald's, right, and get a hamburger, french fries, and Coke for like $4. I went there the other day. It was $7.50. I told him there must be a mistake.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Food prices have been spiking ever since the communist overreaction to the China virus with the shutdowns and the what is that thing called? Chain of... supply chain issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, supply chain issues. Yeah, but supply chain issues ain't got nothing to do with eggs. I mean, my God, a dozen eggs are $9.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
See, the dollar's been devalued so bad. The other day I heard, check this out now, before the first oil embargo, where they put it to us in 73, okay?
Okay.
A barrel of oil was $3 a barrel, and it went to $12 a barrel, and that's why gas went crazy. So that shows you how devalued the dollar is.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just trashed, man,
Yeah, exactly. Trump was making us thrive, and then they undermined him and America and themselves and each other with the overreaction to the China virus and the supporting of Black Lives Matter terrorist attacks on the country. And now they're undermining themselves even worse with this mindless support for Ukraine. I guess there's exceptions to the rule. Kevin Howe has a mind. But the rest of them are mindless Ukraine war supporters and mindlessly fighting each other on these college campuses over this Israel-Palestine war. And Sleepy Joe Biden barely has a mind at all.
Right.
Well, I'm not a doctor, so he has a mind. He has a better mind than Hake's. He's just evil.
One of your callers brought up, that Trump, got a hooker when his wife was pregnant or something like that.
Yeah, talk about dirty gossip,
come on, man. That's like he without sin cast the first stone, man. They always go to this stuff. How about Tara Reid? That's the young lady that supposedly Biden got a hold of. They don't talk about that.
They shouldn't even talk about it for anybody. Like I get Clinton a little bit because he did it in office, according to reports, right? But even him, like, this is too trashy. This is not supposed to be what you're focusing on so much. Clinton was evil because he was a liar and he was for diversity and gun control, and he was a male Democrat, and he pushed straight or gay type stuff. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what's evil about him, not because he was an out of control person allegedly in the Oval Office with that one gal.
Well, you're seeing, people don't pay attention to this stuff. I guess they got short-term memories, and they don't remember when Obama said he was going to transform this country, and he surely did.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you what happened to me yesterday. I went to my local Walmart store, and on the way in, there were so many immigrants outside the place and coming in. I'm not kidding you. I just looked up to the heavens. I looked up in the sky, and I said, thank God I'll be dead in 20 years. Okay?
Whoa.
So I go, So I go inside, because I'm really sick of this stuff, Hake.
But
so anyway,
you shouldn't be so sick of it that you die in the next 20 years. What the
odds are, I mean, I'll be 78 years old. My birthday's in a couple of weeks. I'll be 58. So, I mean, odds are...
You're expecting to die at 78? Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
I cancel those words in the name of Jesus. I rebuke.
No, you're right.
I rebuke you.
But anyway, I go in and
you don't honor your parents? That is because you don't honor your parents? That's why you don't expect to have a long life?
I'm sort of joking, okay? I'm sort of joking. I'm really not totally serious about it, but you know what I'm saying.
Don't joke about that, kids. Don't joke about death, kids.
Right.
Okay,
Well,
go
if
ahead.
you could go back to when I was a kid and then look at this now, you might think the same thing. Anyway, so I go inside, I'm shopping, and this girl comes up to me with a child in her cart with a bunch of groceries, and she just bald-faced comes out and tells me, I'm an illegal, and I don't have any money. Can you help me? And I remembered she tried to pull this on me a while back, and I bought her some baby formula. And I just got a little like sharp, I got rough on her a little bit, and then I felt bad about it, and then I thought to myself, why should I have to deal with this when I'm shopping? You know what I'm saying? It's just.
Wait,
you think of.
But you encouraged it by obliging her, didn't you?
Well, the first time she didn't have a kid with her, and she needed baby formula for her baby supposedly, and a man turned her down. Okay,
Nice.
and I felt bad for her, and I bought her some baby formula. You
were set up by your emotions.
Yep, I sure was, but
Man.
yeah. But
Don't give illegals money. What the? You're encouraging them, and
right.
Caller
That's
needs
why
to
I
harden
didn't.
his heart, like Mike Gibson says.
Yeah, I know.
But you don't want to be hard-hearted, but
That
you want to
bad,
be
but she's making-
solid in your judgment.
Well, the first time I wasn't, the second time I was, and then I felt bad, sort of, because I always used to give to people no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So the world's, this stuff sort of hardened me now that I'm getting older, and I don't like that. I was always...
You want to be just right. Christianity, like I said yesterday, in not so many words, Islam is too strict. Judaism is... Well, many of the Jewish people, anyway, are too loosey-goosey. Muslims are too strict. Jews are too loosey-goosey. Christians are supposed to be just right in terms of strictness, giving at the right time, not giving too much. So I encourage you to overcome that, man, because now you're all conflicted.
Right, I know. I'll get over it. But
you're turning from Jewish to Muslim. Actually, Jews are told to be are said to be stingy, but they're a little bit too giving with other people's money, like with socialism. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
do you remember when?
Except for the conservative guys. Go ahead.
Did you ever see the video where Chuck Schumer and Trump is sitting in the office, and Trump's telling him he's going to shut down the government if they don't let him build the wall to stop these illegals coming in, and Schumer's fighting him over it, and he tells him, "Look, I'll take full responsibility, Schumer. I won't blame it on you. I'll take full responsibility because these people Americans don't want these people coming in, bringing their drugs, bringing all this. They can't. We can't afford this." And now, look, it's all over like Chicago, New York, all these going into these black neighborhoods. The blacks are, feeling that they're being taken advantage of. And then everybody writes, well, they're going to vote Democrat again.
I know. It's ridiculous.
No matter what happens, they'll vote Democrat again, no matter how bad it gets.
I know. But the Republican voters, if we're led by emotions and getting mad and then feeling guilty and then being too nice, we're a mess. We're enabling this mess. So we can't just blame the Democrat voters.
Well, I blame them. They can't even pick a speaker, man. You think them Democrats that take all that time to pick a speaker?
I like that. I don't mind. I don't mind not having a speaker. I like Congress being paralyzed. They only do harm anyway. So if they can't do anything, that's a good day.
Well, I guess you're right about that.
Right? So.
Right. Well, I wanted to say these people that call up and bash Trump, they need to take a good look at themselves in the mirror, man, because you're talking good versus evil, huh?
But you too, you got to take a good look in the mirror and watch yourself.
I do. That's why I said I was I'm working through this illegal thing.
Right on.
But listen, let me just share one thing with you before I go, because you had a caller call probably like a month ago. A young man called up and he was talking to you about the rapture of the church. Okay, do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Okay, I'm not going to go long on this or anything like that, but he brought up scripture, Matthew 24, where it talks about two men will be sleeping in a bed, one will be taken, one will be left. Two women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken, one will be left. That is not the rapture of the church, okay?
Oh.
That's the second coming. And this is why you're supposed to study the Bible, because the rapture, God takes away the good and leaves the bad. And when he comes back in person, okay, he takes the bad away and lets the good go into the kingdom. So next time you read that, just think about what I just said, okay? Because it specifically says that the bad is taken away, the evil ones are taken away, and the good come into the kingdom, because they got to replenish the earth after all the war and everything like that. You know, there's just, so much destruction, like we talked about before, and that's what that 1,000-year millennium is about too, is to repopularize the earth. And that's it.
I don't really.
Do you understand what I'm talking about?
No, I kind of tuned you out, to be honest. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. I know you do that. You can go back and listen to it.
I'm not that interested in this stuff, though. You know, like
I
this,
noticed
and
that.
plus,
I noticed that about you.
And then partly because I don't believe that you guys are interpreting it correctly.
Well, that's because we interpreted it literally, but that's all right, man. You know, anything that I might say to you that later on down the road might come back to your memory, might be good. You know, that's how I learned from other people, listening to them. You know what I'm saying? And then I got later on, I thought, oh, well, that's what that means. Okay, so it's no big deal. I'm just glad that we can have a civil conversation about it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, man. Appreciate your call. Interesting.
No problem. You have a great day, Hake, and like everybody says, Trump 2024, baby. Okay.
Nice. Right on.
See ya.
Man.
All right. Bye.
All right,
Bye.
Alex in Texas is on the line. Alex, thanks for calling and holding. How you doing?
I'm well, James. How are you today?
I'm fine as well.
Cool. Right on. I'm just a musical Philistine driving through Texas. But I figured I'd ask you, since I saw some news on it. I kind of have a feeling that you don't, but do you have any Bitcoin?
I don't disclose my holdings.
Oh, okay. But, fair enough. I mean, it's kind of a yes or no. You don't have to tell me how much. Sure. If you do have any, it's probably worth a lot more today than it was yesterday.
I've noticed that at one point there was a particular person who was invited to be on a particular show, and this particular person said, I will go if you give me 1 Bitcoin to be on your show. Normally, guests are not paid to be on shows, but this person wanted to hold Bitcoin, and at that point, I think it was like $10,000, but now it's probably up to 30,000, right? Or more? Or what is it?
Yeah, it's over 33. I think it's 34 this morning.
Wow. That's wild.
So, good for them. But, it's all numbers on a screen, which, I mean, it's a scam. But I have no illusions about that, so I'm not.
It's a scam, but you can make money off of it.
Right. It's a scam that you can make money. Exactly.
Why do you call it a scam?
Well, let's see. I guess it's no more or less of a scam than any other, what do they call it? Not monetary system. That's too layman. Like fiat currency.
Yeah, fiat currency.
You need something. You need something to exchange things for other things, and if it's a number on a screen, that's fine. Everybody, nothing's worth more than you're willing to give up for it. So if everybody agrees that the number is what it is, then I guess there's not a problem.
Yeah,
but the problem is that the Bitcoin is becoming worth more than $1. It's obviously 1 Bitcoin is worth way more than $1, but
it used to be just a matter of like cents or less than a cent, right? Originally.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the first thing that was ordered with Bitcoin was a pizza. And I think when Toy Story 2 came out, the value of if you had bought $20 worth of Bitcoin, you'd have, I think, $250,000.
Wow.
But you could also have bought the Toy Story 2 DVD.
That's funny, man.
There's that, but the thing that worries me about it's probably not really good for people who don't have, sound investments or really any investments. It's probably not good if you don't have any savings or you're not kind of looking out for yourself, that Bitcoin's going up. I don't know. I'm not an economist. And sort of bored off this topic anyway, especially after hearing your other caller bring up, I'm sorry, I'm on the road, so I lost my train of thought there. But there was something else I wanted to ask you.
Or the immigrants.
What's that?
The rapture or the immigrants or the devalued dollar?
No, I guess it was neither. It was more about something you said, I think, about Islam. And I think, you said Islam is more strict. Judaism is kind of more loose. That's all well and good. I was listening to some history about Islam today, and it seems to me that there's a lot of confusion. I mean, they were just pointing out a lot of discrepancies in the books, and it's like, okay to be strict and everything about your beliefs, but I learned a lot this morning about like you were always taught that all mosques face towards Mecca. And it turns out that's not true. Like not until like 300, 400 years after Muhammad died was any mosque pointed toward Mecca.
Okay.
There was no firsthand accounts of Muhammad until 200, 300 years after his death, whereas, Jesus had the disciples, I think it was
30, 40
Mark
years
Matthew,
after, right?
Matthew, yeah. Not too much longer. So there was just a lot of stuff that I learned that kind of made me wonder. It's just stuff that I feel like if most Muslims took it seriously and looked at it, they might come home to the real father.
Well, I didn't expect you to use. That's called uptalk. I did not expect a man from Texas to be using uptalk.
Dang, you got me. It's my Yankee parents.
Pretty funny, man. I do that type of stuff sometimes. You're growing. He's going through puberty, guys. You're a valley girl.
Oh yeah, 34-year-old puberty.
Making me blush. Interesting, man. So you're criticizing like the whole setup of the Islam religion and how it has some flaws or suspect things about it. That's fair.
It just seems that Christianity is more based in general, but based in truth, like in verified. A lot of Islam is what's it called? Vocal tradition.
Oral tradition, yeah.
Oral tradition, yes, passed down through words and not with the books and all that stuff. And I don't want to get into it too bad because I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but
right,
like that's like my life is about seeking truth, and I've come closer to God because of that. And so I just think if people might find out that there's more to Christianity than they thought if they took a look at other stuff. I didn't do it again.
Well, you cracked a little bit, but it's cool.
I renounce. I disavow.
That's funny, man. You're engaging in bigotry, says Silvio Dante Jr. Me? Okay, when you say you're searching for truth, do you mean that you're like researching stuff, or do you mean that you're watching yourself and how you respond to things and being quiet in the more personal way, or do you mean like external factual stuff about the world and how different religions have been set up?
Yeah, calling you has been as external with it as I've gotten. I really am a big fan of sitting and watching and waiting and not passing judgment, and that's why I don't.
That's cool.
That's where the inflection comes in. Like I'm really not trying to step on people. It's like thoughts I haven't fleshed out fully. Like this is all stuff that I heard this morning. I'm just kind of hashing it out with you. But yeah.
But don't.
I'm a fan of both. Knowing factual truths.
Yeah.
But also going inside and finding that truth.
Chris in Arizona says he's definitely a Canadian. Wow, he just said he's a Yankee. It's not as bad as Canadian.
Well, my parents are Yankees. I'm from Texas,
Right.
born and raised.
Nice.
And I resent being called the Canadian. I disavow. There's really no need for that kind of name calling.
I know. That's funny, man. You're a pretty funny guy. But you don't want to soften your presentation. Just say it like a man and let them judge you and think that you're being harsh, because you're truly not being harsh about it. You know, you don't want to you don't want to soften it with a voice inflections and stuff like that.
That's something I am working on. It's called, discernment is something that I learned from Jesse Lee Peterson, actually, and that is the actual nature of love, is to discern and to tell people the truth, because it's better for both of you. And when you, like, for instance, I had an ex that, we had a terrible codependent relationship and everything went to crap, but it was, don't say crap, kids. It was because, I was just still very much beta, just kind of hanging on to that. But discernment would have been realizing that it's not good for either of us to try to prop the relationship up. Basically, I get what you're saying. Yeah, totally. I just don't feel confident, I guess. Like, I came to some conclusion, but I don't know if it's worth it to say some of the things that I'm thinking, because they might not be very useful. So I'd rather say things that are useful, and if that means being harsh, that's fine. I just have to find the truth in it so I can find my confidence. But I know there's something there, and that I know that I'm coming from a place of love when I look at Islam and have questions. It's not because I'm purposefully looking for flaws in something that I have these preconceived notions about. It's actually the opposite. I've been looking into Islam a lot because, forgive me for saying it like that, I feel like Islam. But yeah, it's all love, but I do have questions.
Right.
Something's fishy. Yeah.
Interesting, man. I appreciate it, Alex. Interesting call. A great call. Call me again sometime. Is this your first time calling Hake, or you've called in before?
I called you last week about jerky.
Oh, right. That was a great call. Alpha jerky is tough and hard and dry.
Smoky and peppery and all that. Yeah.
Has your alpha jerky arrived?
Not yet.
Okay. Cool. Well, call me again when you have a review on it.
Give a review. Right. Yep. 100%.
Or whatever topic.
Take care out there.
Thank you, man.
Sure,
Take care,
no
Alex.
problem. All right. Thanks, James. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. Alex in Tejas, Texas. A whole lot of Muslims down in Texas. Or is there? Or are there? So let's revisit this Israel propaganda thing going on. Greta Thunberg. Here's that same story again. I have the picture of, I'm mainly just showing this, let's see, Israel propaganda folder there, Hassan. And then go to the Greta New York Post tweet. I'm showing this to show her little stuffed, the little stuffed animal, Octopus. She said, she posted in her IG explanation that it was not an anti-Semitic dog whistle symbol thingy, anti-Jew. It was not, these Jews get their tentacles everywhere. No, it's an animal, it's a stuffed animal that's useful for autistic children. Greta Thunberg, this is old news from Friday, I guess, deleted a pro-Palestinian post featuring anti-Semitic trope. There's that word, trope. It's a liberal word. It might even be like, I was about to say, let me just stop myself. Claims she was completely unaware. Apparently a stuffed anime octopus is now anti-Semitic, says Echo. Yeah. And look at this picture of this beautiful girl. Mentally ill Swedish child. No longer a child. 20 years old now. kind of just cycle through these pictures of her with this Jew stands with Palestine, climate justice now. All the youngins are supporting Palestine now. It's all the rage nowadays. Hassan, show like the more zoomed in one. Number 3, I stand with Gaza. And it has a little thing. It has the little, in that one, I have a more zoomed in one with the upper left picture. It has the animal, the cute animal. How could love be anti-Semitic? I'm quoting a cartoon, anti-racist Hitler. How can love be anti-Semitic? Anyway, how can a beautiful stuffed octopus be anti-Semitic? Climate justice now. Bunch of dumb stuff. I remember seeing Palestine stuff and Hamas stuff. This weird, like, Muslim guy taunting the police in, like, Ferguson, Missouri during Black Lives Matter 2014. I'm with Hamas. And he's like, what does a cop know about Hamas? But yeah, they've been in cahoots with Black Lives Matter and climate propaganda and all the young, dumb college students. Well, there's a mixture because there's the Jewish students who are for Black Lives Matter, but some of them do support Palestine. Look, this one gal, this Jew stands with Palestine. And remember, I said, I stand with Israel. And I said, shout out to Palestine, because we love everybody. We're Christians. So that's, I mainly just zoom in on that cute little monster guy. I mean, not monster. Stuffed animal. What can those tentacles can't reach anything? And Greta Thunberg. Look at him. He looks kind of mad. That is kind of scary. And these scary girls with their tough faces. None of them are smiling, by the way, except for the Jewish girl a little bit. But they're a bunch of frowny faces. She has a half smile. She looks sort of like my niece. Anyway, that's Greta. Here's another gal whom I kind of like. Rashida Tlaib. This is old news as well. It came out like last week or something. Rashida Tlaib posted on X. This is really old news, like from Wednesday or Tuesday last week. Israel just bombed the Baptist hospital. See, these Christians always set up hospitals where these Muslims and other people are fighting. Like, where's the Muslim hospitals? Maybe there are. I could be completely ignorant, which I am. Killing 500 Palestinians. Doctors, children, patients. Just like that. Well, she didn't snap, but... And she quote tweets this blue checkmark named Dr. Umar. It's Omar, not Umar. POTUS, President of the United States. This is what happens, meaning Biden, right? When you refuse to facilitate a ceasefire and help de-escalate. And Biden doesn't want a ceasefire, I guess, until the hostages are released. I don't know. And then the Hamas people say that the hostages, 20 hostages have been killed in the Israeli airstrikes. And the Israelis say that's just psychological warfare. It's not true. And so the Hamas and Israel are accusing each other of psychological warfare. Because Hamas told their people, don't evacuate. That's just Israel's psychological warfare. So anyway, continuing with Rashida Tlaib, one of the squad ladies, I use the term loosely. She looks like a cool Mexican mama from when I was in high school. She just sort of reminds me of one of my friend's mothers. No specific friend, no specific mother. But she just, she's a cussing, smart-mouthed attitude, kind of cool gal. Rashida Tlaib. But now she's a member of Congress out of Detroit. And she's Palestinian, by the way. And she might be Muslim. I think she is Muslim. Your war and destruction only approach has opened my eyes and many Palestinian Americans. If you're Palestinian, you're not American, right? And Muslims Americans like me she says. Okay, you're American. We will remember where you stood. And then here's her quote tweet, number 2. Dr. Omar Suleiman, 504. Dear world, Israel just bombed, and this is, again, this old news from last week, over 500 Palestinian civilians. And, it wasn't necessarily, it turns out it wasn't necessarily Israel. And it wasn't necessarily a high casualty. It was an explosion in the parking lot, maybe killed a few. I don't know. Palestinian murdered over 500 Palestinian civilians. In war, is it murder? Is it in war? And when you kill people, civilians or whatever, is it murder? I guess. I don't know. It's war, so, like, all bets are off. So I don't know if you call it murder, even if you're targeting civilians. Is it murder? War crimes? Whatever. I mean, I'm not for war. I'm not for killing the civilians. But when you have a war, you're going to get civilians killed. Anyway, white phosphorus chemical bombs confirmed by Human Rights Watch. Human Rights Watch, that's a communist propaganda. They put out some factual information, I'm sure. Was not enough to open your eyes. Over 1,000 dead children wasn't enough. Will you open your eyes and act now, world, dear world? Dr. Omar Suleiman. Context. Oh, here's number 3, 2B. Context. The U.S. has collected high-confidence intelligence showing that the explosion at the hospital compound in Gaza was caused by the militant group Palestinian Islamic Jihad, not an Israeli strike. Palestinian Islamic Jihad, not to be confused with Hamas. It's a different group. And they link to Wall Street Journal. So shout out to the community notes. Who is this propagandist pro-Muslim guy? Number 3, Dr. Omar Suleiman. Imam. He's an imam. Shout out to the imams. I like the imam of peace, who's not for this war stuff. Muslim for humanity. Lover of justice. These people, they put a capital J, so you know it's not actual real justice. Bridge builder. New Orleans native. What? Oh, I wonder if he's part black, if he's like a light-skinned black guy. Or if he's just an Arab guy from New Orleans. New Orleans. And he's in Dallas, Texas now. To the suddenly concerned and praying, as reads his pinned tweet October 9th. Our Palestinian casualties are always your footnotes. The daily humiliation of occupation ignored. Yeah, because Israeli soldiers have occupied, according to Wikipedia I read, all right? So I don't know much. Occupied the area of like Gaza and West Bank or whatever since 1967. So that's why they call it occupation. It's humiliation. Well, I don't know. If you want to take that as humiliating. The aggression by settlers and soldiers alike on holy sites and souls. The annihilation of entire families that follows. The devastation, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of victimhood, part of which is, I'm sure, true, right? They put a lot of facts in there, but he pushed stuff that turned out not to be true. That's why you shouldn't be too quick to judge. What a mess, huh? Oh, I'm shaking my head. I'm kind of bored with this. Let's get back to calls, guys. I did want to talk about Sam Harris and Cassandra Rules, because I liked balance. Jaime in Minnesota is on the line. Jaime, thanks for calling and holding. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Nice. What's up?
Hey, I was thinking about what the last caller was saying about like looking into that religion of Islam.
Oh, okay.
And I've been watching a lot of videos on it, and kind of debates and discussions. And one of the people that I looked at was somebody that was interviewed by. They interviewed JLP, Sabib, and Eddie. I don't know if you remember
Eddie
that.
Dean?
It said it was about a year ago.
Eddie Dean, who JLP talked to?
Yep. I didn't see what his last name
Okay.
was, but
Yeah, I think so.
Sab-
Muslim guy.
yep. Sabib was one of the videos that I watched quite a bit, and he had a Christian pastor who was just off his rocker on a different video,
Okay.
and all in his emotions and this kind of thing. And that's the kind of pastor that I grew up with. Was
Okay.
And that pastor said, "I'm just a very passionate person." And that's bogus.
You're talking about the Christian pastor who was like on Facebook or something. Like he was wearing a hat, maybe skinny white man.
No, he was an older man
Oh.
with a beard, gray beard, heavier set.
Oh.
And it was like a sit-down kind of table
Oh.
and a whiteboard. Shouting Pastor is what it was called.
Oh. Okay. Interesting.
But I bring that up for the point that if you're looking into a religion and just to understand it, if you go at it through your own religion's lens,
Yeah.
thinking, Christianity is the right way and there's no other way, and everything that doesn't go with that is a lie, and I'm just going to keep it out of my head. Obstinance. If you're going to be obstinate about it, then you're better off not even doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking into a religion like Islam. And I was curious about it, and I listened to about 45 minutes of that book, on YouTube. And so far, it's only 45 minutes, but I haven't heard anything that goes against what the Bible says. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
But, yeah.
And you're talking, and this is an Islam-related book.
Right, the Koran.
Oh, okay. The Quran, you got to be careful because the Quran's not their only book. It's kind of like saying the Torah is all of Judaism, and it's not.
Right. And so
and
what
in
I
practice,
understand,
it's kind of different.
Yeah, what I understand is something called hadiths.
Yeah, something like that.
Kind of like commentaries.
Yeah, there's like the writings of Muhammad. The Muslims in JLP's Fallen State chat told me in Hake, you're so ignorant. Muhammad was illiterate. He didn't write anything, but he had some oral tradition that was passed down and written down, I guess. And I guess that's maybe where taqiyya, where you can lie to the infidel, is from, or something like that. And he turned into like a very warlike person. You know who knows a lot about Islam is Bill Lockwood, who appears on the Jason Lee Peterson show last Tuesday of the month usually. He's done whole debates about Islam. He says that it's socialism in religious garb.
Right. And about the extra writings with the Jewish tradition, you got the Torah, and then you got the Talmud,
Yeah.
and then you got the Yesenia, and then you got there's the Kabbalah. Those are other books that other people, but the religion is in that Torah.
Oh, okay.
And this other stuff is just other stuff. Guys like me, I'm a layman. I'm not going to get into all that extra stuff unless, let me get the book. Let me find out what's in the book.
But don't you like, how about looking at the fruit of the people?
Yeah.
I mean,
That too.
the Christian fruit, you got to be, you got to watch, I mean, I don't know. It's a mess.
And this is the other thing that I
Establishment
want to bring
Christianity
up.
is a mess.
Is there's like two parts to religion, and there's a political part, and then there's the actual religion part.
Right.
And you see these people, like the Jewish people, there's secular Jews, and then there's religious Jews.
Right.
And there's a lot of secularism.
Oh, yes.
Where
Very much.
they've said, I'm Jewish, but I don't practice.
Yep.
So what is that? That's nothing. It's not religion.
No, but their culture kind of, their culture is definitely affects things. Like your culture, your upbringing, brings you into like a certain mindset. So they fall into a certain mindset oftentimes.
Yeah, and so like with the Christians, what I've noticed is their political side of Christianity lets everything in. You know, the homosexuals, transgender, those kind of things, those kind of ideologies that are not, morally straight.
Yeah.
Christian values. It's because that's the political side of it, and that's not the religious side of it. I mean, in the book, the Gospels, Jesus says what happens to these types of people. Not that he hates them or anything. Just that's what happens.
You should not take children away from the Lord.
Right, and it's the same thing with the Torah. The Torah says what it says, but you have these political Jews and the religious ones. And then the same with Islam. You have people that are political, but they're not religious.
True.
And they have this fake guise, this fake disguise, like they are religious, just like with the Christians.
Yep.
And the pastor. And if you haven't seen the video with the shouting pastor...
That's a JLP interview?
No. This is what Sabib.
Oh.
Who was interviewing with JLP. I saw that, and that was a pretty good one.
Okay.
But, that's the point, is these people, there's political side to the religion, and then there's the actual religious side, and the political part is, it's evil.
Yeah.
They do these things in the name of, whoever, their religion.
Yeah.
And it's a trick. It's a nasty trick.
It really is.
But if we stay out of our thoughts and our emotions, we won't fall for that trap, and we can just stay out of it.
Yeah.
See it for what it is.
That's fair. Sounds fair, Jaime.
Right. And so, like with the Koran, I'm looking at it through a religious lens. I just want to know the truth. That's it. I don't care about what's going on in the world. That has nothing to do with, me and God.
So you're looking for truth in the Koran?
Right. And, it matches with the Torah. So far, 45 minutes isn't very long. I'm going to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to the whole thing and find out for myself.
All right.
That people who have this political, religious, Christian, and want to tell me something's in there, I'll know for myself. And I can just ignore it.
Yeah.
Ignore what these people who don't have my best interest in mind.
True.
You see what I'm saying?
What makes you interested in this?
First thing is when I heard that, the Bible isn't, or the Bible's corrupted. Verses had been added from the original scripts, and then I was like, that's what got me into seeking.
So, like, what's an example of verses that were added to the original scripts in the Bible that you know of?
Not sure. I have to go back.
I know of one.
Yeah.
The story about him drawing in the sand and the woman caught in adultery, him saying, "Those of you without sin cast the first stone." I heard that was added much later by somebody else.
Right. And
I don't know if that means it's a fake story or a true story, but just was added later or what?
Yeah, and that's one of them. The most original script, the most original one that there is, doesn't have that story.
Right.
And then, you have these scribes who are supposed to write everything word for word.
Uh-huh.
Well, somebody made a decision in the church to add that.
And to allow it, even after it was discovered that it was whatever. I don't know.
And that's a corruption. And that's
I don't
wrong.
know if that's a corruption or if that's just an addition.
That's bad.
How do you know it's bad?
How do I know it's bad?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel right. Feels like a lie.
But just because it feels like a lie, does it make it a lie?
Yeah.
It does?
It feels like a misuse of trust.
Oh, you think it
What
was
else
done?
are you lying
think
to
it
me
was
about
done
kind of thing,
surreptitiously?
you know what I'm saying?
You think it was done surreptitiously, not or surreptitiously,
Yeah.
as in with malintent?
Malice. Yeah, it was done with malice.
How do you know that? You're like reading way into like something that was an addition
And
to enhance.
This is why, because it's a political move.
How do you know
church,
that?
You think back, into the 300s, 400s, the Catholic Church had all the power. They're adding stuff to the Bible. And then 1500s, Martin Luther, how he put up the 95 Theses, said, hey, all this stuff isn't in there.
What's political about that story? Let's stick with that story about the woman caught in adultery and him saying, he without sin cast the first stone. What's malicious and wrong about that story that shouldn't have been in the Bible?
Yeah.
I'm asking.
I'd have to look at it. I'd have to think about it more.
Are you familiar with that story?
I guess I'm at the point, I just stopped so far as this isn't supposed to be in there. I haven't thought about it hard enough.
But just because it was added later doesn't mean it wasn't supposed to be in there.
Yeah, it does.
How do you know that? That's like saying just because the Americans today weren't originally in America, that means the Americans today shouldn't be in America.
No, I don't think that's a very good analogy.
You might not be right, but
well, like the Gospels, those are religious. They're religious texts, right? Can't be added to religious books all the time.
Right, but it's also kind of historical.
This gospel was given.
But they didn't.
Jesus.
They didn't do it. They're not adding to it all the time. They're just. I mean, nowadays they're changing the language and saying God.
Well,
they're turning God into like a non-binary thing. But I'm talking about this one story. This one story added in. You're calling it evil. But you haven't really thought about the story and whether it's right or wrong to put in.
Yeah, and it makes me think about how the mother lies to the kids about the father. A little lie, maybe a little lie here and there. And then it adds up.
Right, but this one edition may have been a proper edition.
Right.
But you're assuming, it sounds like, based on your sense that it was a bad edition.
And so that's what started me on.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Another book to figure out some more.
So you think that there may be truth in Islam that's not found in Christianity because you're looking for the truth.
Well, I know that there was truth in what Jesus was saying. And then it was corrupted. And so it follows logically that if God loves us so much, he would send another prophet with another book. And I got to look at this book for what it is. I got to check it out. And if it's bad, I'm going to throw it away.
ZEUS says Hake is picking sides. I'm not necessarily even picking sides. Like, I don't have a strong opinion that was a good story to bring in. Like, it makes me ponder.
It was an okay story.
But I don't think I don't think it's good to make a judgment that this is a negative thing that it was added later. It doesn't mean that it was a negative thing. That's all I'm saying. It may be a negative thing, but I'm not convinced that it is a negative thing.
Well, I think it was a negative thing.
But why would you think that if you don't know?
Well, because it's the Bible. You're not supposed to mess around with the Bible.
But it wasn't the Bible until after that edition was made.
Sure. So the whole idea is there's political side to this religion, these religions, and then there's the religion. If a person, a layman like me, just wants to be religious, that's how I got to look at these books. But if I want to be, an undercover political person and see that religion's a great way to control people, then I'm going to, bash this and bash that and not even look at it and give it, a good look.
It's okay. Interesting, man. I appreciate it. Interesting call, man. And
shouting pastor, take a look at
ZEUS is thinking that I'm defending my Bible, but I'm not. I'm just I'm just defending. I'm encouraging you guys to exercise like American Anchor Baby has done before. More aware of your jumping to conclusions.
Right.
You don't want to jump to conclusions that it's right or wrong for that thing to be added in there. It's fine to know that it's added in there. I like knowing that was added in there, but I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you're a religious guy. Hey, I don't think you're a political evil guy.
Right.
I think you're on the right path. You know, you want to know the truth too, and
yeah,
you take it on at your own pace.
Nice. It's kind of like people think Trump lied about the Sidney Powell. I'm like, why do you think Trump lied about that? Like, I don't think he necessarily lied about that. Because people are jumping to conclusions. You heard Joe from Phoenix say, "Oh, he was definitely she was definitely on his payroll." On my show yesterday, I don't know if you caught that call.
I did.
You did?
I did, and that's another. You know, it's a political, wrong way of thinking, or a good way of thinking, and
leave it blank. Leave it blank. Leave it as an I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a good way of thinking. Is I don't know.
People think, oh, Hake is being naive. It's like I don't necessarily believe that Trump did that thing with that dirty video woman. I don't necessarily think he did or didn't. I don't care if he did. It's like an I don't know and I don't care. But people think I'm being naive because I say, oh, Trump denies that he did that thing with that dirty video woman when his current wife was pregnant with Barron Trump. And they think I'm being naive, but I'm actually being careful what I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Nice, man. Great call, Jaime in Minnesota.
Yeah, I thought I'd call about that and give my 2 cents.
Yeah. Let me know how this develops as you listen to the Koran. Quran.
Yeah, for sure. Quran.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Guys, hey, I need Joel Friday in here. Joel Friday here. Before I get back to calls, I will get to you guys. I appreciate you guys. Can Joel Friday come in the house? We have him coming up. You can just walk by the camera because we like it quaint. It's charming. Oh, yeah, you can sit on that thing, I guess. It's like sitting on the pads. What are you going to be covering on your show today? You're going to come on right after Hake.
Yeah. What was the title that I have?
I wanted to bring him on before the music break because the chat says that I lose viewers during the Hake music. So I wanted to make sure that I brought him on with a high viewership.
You guys are going to have to wait. I'm going to save it.
Okay.
For partly because I forgot, but also because it's going to be interesting stuff that I want to bring up. But it kind of ties into what I'm going to talk about on the show, so you'll have to tune in to see. But you don't want to miss it today.
Nice.
You definitely want to make sure you check it out.
He talks about relationships, spirituality, and argues with callers. Not arguing with malice or ego necessarily.
Right. Or at least try not to, right?
Right.
Right.
Right on, man.
Yeah. But they can I'll probably wait to announce that too on my show. Yeah, I was gonna announce something. Okay. But I am on Buy Me a Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lowered the price of his donuts. You can buy donuts on buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV.
Yeah. They give you options how you can do like donuts, you can do different things.
Yeah, you can just call it super chats or tips or whatever, or coffees or donuts or whatever.
Yeah, I'm on there. I'll link that for you guys too as well.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Right on. No, thank you.
All right.
For the promotion.
Joel Friday TV right after Hake on Tuesdays. Joel Friday on Tuesdays. I'm going to get to your calls, guys, but first let's get to some music. This is Steve Taylor Tuesday, the inaugural Steve Taylor Tuesday. And speaking of greed, I guess, and immoral, unchristian values that infects all people, this is titled Cash Cow, a rock opera in 3 small acts by Steve Taylor, a Christian artist from 1995, the album Squint. I hope you enjoy it, you musical Philistines. I'll be right back for the rest of hour 2. Hang tight.
Moving closer. Moving closer to the. Moving closer to the middle of the fray.
Without the horns, and through the centuries it has roamed the earth like a ravenous bovine seeking whom it may lick. Cash cow, cash cow. From the valley of the shadow of the outlet mall to the customized petwear boutique, from the trailer of the fry chef to the palace of the chic, the cash cow lurks. The cash cow lurks. The cash cow lurks. Who loves you, baby? Who'll give you good credit? Who says you'll regret it? Who loves you, baby? Who'll give you good credit? Who says you'll regret it?
I needed more money. All I wanted was love. And a little more money.
Woe to you, proud mortal, secure in your modest
Woe to
days.
you.
You think you're immune? You who couldn't finger said cow in a police lineup with the 3 little pigs? Cow, master of disguises. Who's gonna change shape at will? Who's the eye in the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill? Who loves power luncheon from Spargo to the Sizzler? Guess who's coming to dinner?
This one's free.
Cash cow coming to get ya. Why? Because you think this is stupid, don't you? The cash cow will not be mocked.
The cash cow's planning a coup.
The cash cow chews
Cut bigger than you. Woe to you who blow off this morning. Perhaps you've already been lit. I too was hypnotized by those big cow eyes. The last time I uttered those 3 little words, I deserve better. So good. I like this, says Doom Jesus. Wait for it. It starts back up in 30 seconds, and then we'll get to calls and super chats, guys. James's taste in music has me questioning why I like his opinion so much. LOL. Lots of laughs. This is actually cool. Indeed it is. It's rockin'. It's rockin'. Where's your DC Talk shirt? Is it gonna come back? This flew right over my head. Well, I know I listened to it a bunch of times. And then I kind of like the meaning sunk into me. Yeah, it reminds me of Carmen. Hang tight, callers. chats after calls. Steve Taylor. "30-second break? Come on, man." Better than AAPI music. Whoa. Steve Taylor Tuesdays, guys. Hope you enjoyed that almost as much as I did. I gotta get to ZEUS in Florida, who's on the line here. ZEUS, thanks for calling and holding, man. What's up?
What's going on, Hake? How are you?
Chilling.
Nice. So I just called to chime in on the Bible conversation, I guess.
Yeah.
Last caller, that was a good call. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
What's your version of the Bible? Like, what Bible do you read?
You know, I don't have one. I was raised on NIV. Like, my mother bought me an NIV, New International Version, the liberal one. Well, liberal for the 90s, I guess. And then I would also read a little bit of the King James or New King James because it's a little bit easier to read. I've heard that the ESV is okay. The New American Standard Bible is okay. And I also sometimes pull up the Catholic Bible, the New Jerusalem one that JLP has. You can look it up on catholic.org/Bible/. So those are just the different ones that I sometimes check out.
I got a Bible that was given to me by some Jehovah Witnesses, and that's the only Bible I have. Not because I believe it, just because they gave it to me, and I don't know. But what I wanted to bring up is the Ethiopian Bible is like 800 years older than the King James Version. So what's your take on that?
You know, older may or may not be better. I wonder who made the Ethiopian Bible. Huh.
I'm not sure, but apparently I was looking it up. They have like 100 books compared to the King James 66, I think.
Oh, wow.
And like one of the books they have in there is the Book of Enoch, which talks about like the Nephilim and stuff like that, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've never read the Ethiopian Bible.
Okay.
I just did it to merely point out what I believe Jaime said. It's just used to control people. And I understand that there's a verse in there that says, if you add to this book, yada, 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 God's going to get you or whatever.
Right.
But when it comes to power, you really think people care about that? People are going to do what is necessary to take power. So, and I'm not saying for a fact this is what they did, but I mean, who's to say they didn't just manipulate this book and put what books they want in it to manipulate people for power? And all I'm saying is if you don't believe the Bible, I don't care. Like, the Bible has some good stuff in it. Yeah. I read it occasionally. I like the Psalms myself. I like different stories. But I just think, like, when people act like their book is more important than other people's book is when it's like, I don't know. I think you're wrong. Not you per se, but I feel like when the Muslims think, oh, our book is right, or the Jewish people, my book is right, or even Christians, when they say the same thing, I think that's where you're wrong. If you want to believe it, believe it. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
But to act like your book, and then the thing about it, the King James Version is not even the oldest version of the Bible. And when I think about the Ethiopian Bible, I think of King Solomon, which was supposed to be this wise guy, had a bunch of like wives and concubines.
Yeah.
He got with I believe her name was the Queen of Sheba, and she was Ethiopian from what I've heard. And I think that's where that Bible comes from, I believe. And I've heard stories. Obviously, I don't know if it's true, but that's where they say the Ark of the Covenant is was in Ethiopia.
Yeah, Ethiopians, they're a Christian country, or were. It's interesting. They are you saying that King Solomon got with her like physically, like a concubine, or just met with her and shared wisdom with her?
No, I think he got with her like physically.
Oh, wow.
Because from what I've heard, because I study Solomon and different things.
Okay.
And from what they say, he's kind of a guy who was weak
to
the passions of women.
Yep.
Like he loved women. And so I think that's why, from what I heard in the story, that's why he gave her, or gave him the Ark of the Covenant, because he was that into her.
Wow. You know, I remember reading about Solomon in the Bible. I read the Bible all the way through one time, and I remember that God said to him, you can have whatever you want. Just ask. in one thing that you want. And he asked for wisdom. And God's like, right on, you asked for wisdom. That's a good thing to ask for. And so he gave him wisdom. And so he was very wise, and he was renowned around the world. I may be misusing that word. But I don't know whether he got with the Queen of Sheba or not. I know that he had a lot of wives and concubines, and that part wasn't very wise. He ended up following after their gods. Like he fell for their gods. And
that's true. He did do that.
But I thought my impression was just that he met with the Queen of Sheba or whatever and shared wisdom with her, and maybe he sent something like that. You may be right. I don't know that to be true personally.
Well, I wasn't there, so I don't know if it's true personally, but that's what I've heard. And also another interesting thing about Solomon is there's like a book. It's called the Ars Goetia, and essentially he bound 72 demons, and they say that's how he built the temple.
Oh, yeah, because he was a man of peace, whereas David wanted to build the temple, but he had too much blood on his hands. God's like, no, man, I made you a king of war, and you're not, therefore you've shed blood, and you're not clean enough to build the temple, so one of your sons is going to do it. So that's why Solomon got to build the temple or whatever.
Yeah, apparently he was like a magician, quote unquote, and like he could control demons and jinn. And jinn are in the Koran, by the way, genies.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That's according to something outside of the normal Bible that I know about?
I don't think it's in the normal Bible. I think it's mentioned in like the Quran will speak to that, like his wisdom. And I think I want to say one of the Jewish books, maybe, what's that one? The Talmud, maybe? It's one of them.
Okay.
I've been listening to different stuff. Another interesting thing, you know what Gnosticism is?
I don't. Gnosticism or something like that. Gnosticism.
Correct.
Kind of, it sounds like a root word of agnostic, but I don't know.
You know,
it has something to do with knowledge? Yeah.
Well, that's the craziest thing. So someone in the chat, U's name, mentioned Gnosticism.
Yeah.
And I never really looked into it because I assumed it had to do with agnostic.
But it's not.
So I was like, whatever. Yeah. No, apparently it's kind of the way I view it. It was a rival Christian organization that essentially, after Jesus died, they didn't write the Bible.
Okay.
Apparently, from what I've heard, or I guess listened to or whatever, these groups all had their views of Jesus, and the ones that won around 300 AD, 350 AD, are the ones who created the Bible, the normal Bible, I guess, as some would call it.
Yeah.
And they kind of labeled these Gnostics as blasphemers.
Right.
So
Heretics.
it's interesting. I don't personally agree with Gnosticism either. Like I didn't even know about it. I just been researching it since I heard that guy talk about it.
Okay.
Or mention it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think all that stuff is kind of fascinating, the history of it, and I don't know. I'm not the kind of person who's going to buy that this book is this because someone said it is. I'm going to do my own, I guess, research. I'm going to do my own thinking. I'm going to look within and kind of figure out what I believe from all that. I'm not just going to take someone's word because I feel like that's where you get manipulated.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough,
So
man.
I don't care. Like, if you like the Bible, that's cool with me. I still think you're a cool guy. Your music this week has not been that great, but I still think you're a cool guy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. What did you think about me saying leave it blank? You know, that edition of the woman who was caught in adultery and Jesus drawing in the sand and saying, he who was without sin cast the first stone. The fact that was added in, me being agnostic as to whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, I guess it's okay. I think it's kind of sad if that story is added on because I think that's one of the better stories.
Yeah, it's a nice story. I don't mind them adding that in. Like, but I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but it is interesting to know that.
I think it leans more towards the wrong simply because if they added that, what else did they add? What else have they manipulated in that book to control the hearts and minds of people? And that's the only thing I'm pointing out. It's still a good story. I mean, and that's why I said read the Bible and enjoy the wisdom in it, but don't treat it as gospel, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. You know, what's even more subtle and deceptive is the meaning of words change over time. And then even more than that is the manipulation of our interpretation of reality in our minds through our thoughts. You know how our thoughts totally mislead us. We could spout off true things all the time and not truly be living it. We could we could doom ourselves in different subtle beliefs that we think that we have, like I can't get it right, I'm never going to get it right, I'm only human and stuff like that. And that's something truly to watch out for, which is why I like JLP's focus on what Paul said in the Bible, take every thought captive. Because that's even more a deep and personal and real deception than even just these outward things being manipulated. You know, you're being manipulated even by your own mind.
Well, I like what he says, that thoughts are demons.
Yeah.
And I feel like when those thoughts are saying you're not good enough or do something bad to yourself or whatever, those are just demons, and they're trying to put negativity on you so they could steal that energy. So I agree with what he says, is all thoughts are lies and those thoughts are demons. And so you should definitely never believe your thoughts, I guess, because especially if they're saying bad things, it seems logical not to listen to them.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
The thing with origin of words, I agree with you. Like if you get the chance at some point in the future, look up the origin of the word weird, and you might find it pretty fascinating.
Okay. Interesting, man.
And fun fact about me, my very first book that I ever read was my first Bible. It was this little Bible with like cartoon drawings, and it was a very moving book, and I enjoyed it. So
Right on. Yeah, some of those childhood things are all I need to know. I learned in kindergarten. It's only now starting to sink in.
Definitely. That
Cool,
makes
man.
sense.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, well, I'll let you roll. I just want to shout out Latin and
Right on.
shout out to Latin Catch
Cool,
you later,
man.
Hake. Have a good week.
You too, Zeus. Thank you, man. In Florida.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care.
Later.
Bye. That was nice. Somebody said, Matthew said, you can be misled even by your own research. Something like that. People research and fall right back into the pride of knowledge. For sure. You can be manipulated by your own research. Oh, Mike said that too. Yeah, for sure. Oh, he mentioned Gnosticism. Let me read this. Gnosticism, a prominent heretical movement from the 2nd century Christian church, partly of pre-Christian origin, collection of religious ideas and systems coalesced in the 1st century AD. Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. Anno Domini. Among Jewish and early Christian sects. Emphasize personal spiritual knowledge above the proto-Orthodox teachings, traditions, authority of religious institutions. Google says the focus is on the individual and individual experience in Gnosis, whereas Gnosis, whereas Christianity focus was on the community of believers. I think you need both if you're going to be a person of love, right? I think you need both. I don't know. Anyway, don't know, don't really care. I got to get to, Jesse in Georgia, first-time caller. Jesse, what's up? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. You doing okay?
I am, thank you.
That's great. I just was sitting here putting in this horrible glass house thing I got for my wife, and I was listening to your show, and everybody's coming on talking about, the Muslims and the Bible, and how, I even read that the Muslim faith comes from the Arabic descendants of Abraham, which is hard to believe because, Muhammad didn't live. There was no Muslims until 625 AD. And that's 600 years beyond Christ.
Yeah, I've heard that too. What I heard was that they interpreted that they came from Ishmael, that God's promise was to Ishmael, the son of Hagar, who was the assistant or cleaning lady for Sarah, who said, hey, Moses, I'm too old. God's taking his sweet time, so why don't you sleep with my helper? Oh, turn him up if you can. Come close to the phone, Jesse, so you come across loud and clear.
How about that? Is that better?
I think that is. So, yeah, I've heard that too. I heard that they come through that. I don't know.
Well, the only problem I've got with that is there's nothing historically to back that up except what they say.
Yeah.
And if you take the Bible is mentioned by other people throughout history, like Josephus. I just got through reading the complete works of Josephus. He was a Jewish author that lived during the destruction of Jerusalem.
Yeah, he was a historian at that time, I think. He wrote down what went on.
Right, and he's been backed up by a lot of other people.
Okay.
Plus, he quotes a lot of old people.
Nice.
Throughout his writings, and it's just. And then I've read this book about how the Koran came around, and it's history of Muhammad is who it was, and it said that he kept getting kicked out of these towns because he couldn't get nobody to believe what he wanted them to believe. So he started picking the Bible, started taking things out of the Bible and incorporating them into his faith to get people to believe what he's believing, because they wouldn't even listen to him. He'd have to leave, go from one town to the next.
Wow.
Just to get people to follow him. And also I discovered something else. But Muslims, the Muslim faith has never been peacefully accepted by any other country.
Wow.
By any country. I mean, if you look, it's always been wars and what they call caliphates, which is the same thing as a war.
Yeah.
I mean, they spread all over the world, from the Philippines to Indonesia. But if you'll read some of the history of these other countries like that, it'll tell that Muslims came as traders, and then just like the English did when they came over here, and the Spanish, they globbed on to the local society and converted a lot of them. And there were a lot of Christians killed a lot of people too. But
yeah,
one of the biggest fallacies that I found was that everybody points to the Crusades. Well, let's look at the other side of the Crusades. Why did the Crusades occur? Because the Muslims were marching all over the world, taking over the world. And the Christians said, hey, look, we better get something together here. They're going to take everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it was. And they got all the way to Hungary. And guess who stopped them?
The Christians. The Christian Crusaders.
Dracula.
Who?
No, Dracula.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He took it.
Dracula.
It's not funny, but after he captured the Muslims when they came marching in, he impaled them and lined them up on the street.
Vlad the Impaler.
Right. But
Yep.
and you know how he knew about it? You know why he hated the Muslims so much?
Why?
Because he was given to the head Muslim when they were coming through by his father, and he had to go live with the Muslims for a while. They did that. That was to keep peace between the tribes, so that you wouldn't have an uprising, because your son was in their captive.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and he finally got free with them and came back and claimed his territory. But yeah, it was him, and I mean there was nothing stopping them. They were all up into Macedonia and all up into there, and he did. He scared them when they came marching to try to retake the land. They saw all the Muslims impaled along the road, and that scared them so much that they turned around and left and went back.
Wow. He was tough, huh? He spoke the only language they understand. Vicious, brutal violence.
The thing was, people don't want to study history. They just want to take what people tell them.
Yeah.
And the reasons, and I mean, shoot, Jerusalem changed hands 2 or 3 times before the Muslims finally took it back.
Wow.
Because, the Englishmen in the French, they got tired of the war just like America does now. And so they left and went home. And that's when that's when they took it back over. It's if you get a chance, you want to look at some of Josephus's work. I mean, he's a true historian, and you'll learn something about the early Jews that nobody will tell you. The Jews, the Christians, not even the Muslims will tell you, because the Jews were pretty out in left field too.
Oh, sure,
That's why
I bet.
they kept getting punished.
That's why they had to send Jesus.
Kept getting punished.
That's why God had to send Jesus. That's interesting, man.
That's right. I mean, every time they stuck up to God, he'd take them back in and say, "Okay, I forgive you."
Yeah.
And then they'd go on and start doing what they wanted to do, and he just weird. But I mean, he told them to destroy those people when he moved them into the promised land. He said, "Don't leave a cow."
I remember that. I've mentioned that before. God said to destroy even the women and children and animals.
Right.
And they didn't always do that when they should have, because they got greedy. They're
That's
like,
right.
oh.
They got greedy.
Yep.
They wanted to keep the cattle.
So wrong.
So they suffered. They're suffering right now for that.
Yeah. To this day, huh? The sins of the sons the sins of the fathers passed down to the sons.
Right. Well, there were some pretty wicked kings of the Jews.
Oh yeah.
Some pretty wicked kings of the Jews.
Right. There were some righteous ones and then really bad ones. Righteous ones, really bad ones. Less
right.
bad,
I mean, they
really
just took
bad.
turns.
Yeah.
They took turns. I mean, they closed for a while. They closed the temple down completely. I mean, the Jews still had control of it, and they just shut it up. I mean, they didn't even go, worship God at all. And by the way, the reason the Ethiopians play such a big part in Christianity today, and Judaism actually, is because the Queen of Sheba and that little fella. I don't quote the Bible because I don't speak from a level of authority, and that's what you do when you speak Bible.
Okay.
But you remember when the apostle went down to Fort Egypt, and the guy was coming along, and he was reading the Bible.
Yeah.
He was reading, and he couldn't read it, and he couldn't understand it.
Yep.
I think it was Stephen, and he interpreted it to him, and then he baptized him. Well, where do you think he went to after he got back on it? He got back on his thing and left preaching the gospel, and he was headed down south.
Back to Ethiopia, where he spread.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool, man.
I mean, you see, there's a lot of history. People either don't want to learn or they just don't.
For sure.
I mean, but there's a lot that they're not going to tell you.
Great call,
And
man.
Thank
you for the history lesson.
Well, that's what I studied in college, so whatever. All righty. You have a good day. Talk to you later.
All right, Jesse, take care. Jesse in Georgia. Man, okay, let me plow through these calls, and then I'll get to Super Chats, and then we'll see what we can do. Chuck in New Jersey is on the line. Chuck, thank you for calling. What is up?
Hey, how you doing there, Hake?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. This is a side note here. You've seen the Ten Commandments, I'm sure.
You know what? I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen it?
I own it, and I have not even seen it.
All right. If you have a chance to turn it on, at the very beginning, the producer Cecil B. DeMille, he references Josephus.
Okay.
In his monologue, you see him. I think if you have the long version, he'll come out on stage, and he references the writings of Josephus and other scholars that were able to give him and the screenwriters the encouragement to write this screenplay they wrote. But that's when you guys just now talking about it, it brought back memories of it. Okay. I have it. I own it. Yeah, I own it too.
Nice.
But what I was calling about was, about the economy, and I didn't want to take things in a different direction. But
you're fine.
I saw a couple of weeks ago, and I know you work with Jesse, and I saw a short video, and I think you commented about it when you did your news reports.
Okay.
And there was They were at the border. I guess it was either the border with Mexico and California or Texas. I forget which. And what I saw in that clip was young men coming across the border.
Yep.
And what kind of surprised me about it was these guys look to be in pretty good shape. I guess that their ages are between 18 and 35. And what really surprised me was the fact that not all of them are from Central and South America.
Right.
Some of them are from the Caribbean. Some of them are from African countries, and God knows where else they're from. But what I was surprised at, and I did some research, come to find out that a lot of these people that are coming here, unbeknownst to a lot of folks in this country, are coming here to work, not necessarily bringing crime and drugs and stuff like that. In fact, and the fact of the matter is, more drugs come in through our ports as opposed to these guys bringing them over. I mean, I live here in the Philadelphia area, and God knows they have gotten tons of drugs that are brought in here on ships, container ships, and stuff like that. They've been able to capture it that way. But the vast number, I would say that the vast number of those folks that are coming over here are coming here to work on our farms and in our factories. And right here in the community I live in, I'm getting ready to go to, after I get off this call, I'm going over to a dry cleaners to pick my clothes up.
Uh-huh.
And the people that run that place have been there for a few years. They're expats from, I asked them, expats from Mexico, and they come here for a better life.
Uh-huh.
Two of my neighbors are from Mexico, and they work, in landscaping businesses and restaurants. They do a lot of the work that American young men and women don't want to do, or feel as though they don't have to do. They feel as though it's beneath them. So when I hear people talk about they're taking our jobs away, they're doing this, that, and the other, we need to stop and think for a moment. Nobody takes a job from anybody. You either apply for the job and you're given the job, or you're not. And when these people come over here, they come over here to work. For the most part, yes, there is crime, criminals that come here.
Right.
I won't deny that. We all know that there are criminals that come here. That's with any group of people that come here. There's criminals. We've had a big influx from Eastern Europe that came here.
What do you think about the fact that they're here? Many of them are here illegally, and many of them are not such honest workers. They don't have the same values of the freedom of speech, the Second Amendment. They don't love white people. They fall for they accuse whites of racism and all that stuff. And then they have children who vote Democrat and just vote for the destruction of America.
Well, if that be the case, and I don't know who's saying that or where that's coming from.
I'm saying it.
Okay, you're saying it.
Yeah.
You're saying it. I get that.
Yeah.
I'll counter that with this. Then why come here if that's the case? Why come here if you're going to come here and fight against white folks? That makes no sense to me.
But they're winning the fight against whites.
Are they?
Yeah, and actually their children are worse than them, you'll notice. Like the illegal parents or the parents who are legal, they may be more calm and nice and want to behave themselves because they're here as guests. And then their children are born here, and then they become spoiled Americans, quote unquote. And they're anchor babies, and they get radicalized. Some of them commit crimes or terrorism, but most of them, you're right, they work and just whatever. But they don't have the same culture as the original Americans who value freedom. They have a socialist, communist mindset. Just like, the younger people today, even the younger supposed normal white Americans and black Americans are more spoiled and socialist and stuff. It's that times two, maybe, with the immigrants' children.
Well, let me ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
Have you worked? Obviously, you work in the capacity that you work in. So you're not outside working in a factory, driving a truck.
I used to work at a factory. I used to work with Mexicans.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure
Now-
they were illegals because many of them did not have, they didn't want to go down and do jobs in San Diego. They didn't have their driver license. Somehow they had their I-9, but they were not these, except for like one or two, they were not these honest, hard workers. Some of them were getting drunk off the job, during the job. They would pretend to work. They would steal from work. They weren't these honest. I get that there's a lot of spoiled people who don't want to work and don't want to do these jobs, but if we got rid of welfare and unemployment and all that stuff, they wouldn't have a choice but to have the Americans go back to work. I say we get rid of the birth control stuff because Americans are, even immigrants babies who get educated, they don't have kids. I get that we have a population problem because we have a a socialist system. So the young people need to work to feed the old. And we need to get rid of the welfare, get rid of the subsidized birth control so that Americans can make American babies and those people can work at a young age. Because now you have like immigrant old mothers owning McDonald's and working at McDonald's when it should be the young teenager, blacks and whites. Go ahead.
Well, what I will say to that is this. I'm glad you brought up one thing about making babies.
Yeah.
And one thing that I do agree with you on is that we are our own worst enemies when it comes to making babies.
Yeah.
I come from a family of 9. I'm 71 years old. I come from a family of 9.
9 brothers and sisters?
9 brothers and sisters.
Wow. It was only 5 of us, little Hakes.
You know, and I'm 71 years old. We were baby boomers. The youngest of my brothers and sisters right now is over 60.
Yeah.
So what I will tell you is this. We're our own worst enemy when it comes to making babies. We're not making babies right now.
Yeah.
People are waiting later in life to make babies, and then they only make 2 at the most.
And they come out deformed.
You know, so
yeah.
And then abortion has how many black and white and Hispanic and Asian babies have been killed through abortion?
Yeah.
Millions.
Yep.
Millions. You know?
Out of control.
I believe
60
in
million.
a woman's right. I believe in a woman's right to choose, but I also believe in common sense.
Okay.
And common sense will tell you that if you play with fire, you're going to get burnt. If you don't want to make a baby, then don't protect yourself.
Are you white or black, out of curiosity, Chuck? Are you white or black?
I am black.
Oh, okay.
I am black.
I didn't know that. All this time I was thinking of white man talking. Right on.
You know, well, I try to speak in clear, precise sentences. My mother and father, they didn't tolerate, you know, we came home when we started speaking Ebonics, we got our butts beat.
Nice.
So, but the thing is that the one thing that we always, you know, we go to church on Sunday. Now, we didn't always do that. You know, when I got out of high school and went into college, I had my wild years. But I then realized that there are some things, whether you're a liberal or conservative, that just make sense. Some things that don't make sense.
Right.
And one of the things that doesn't make sense right now is the way we're going about things in some respects.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about this border, I look at this border and I've spoken to Jesse about this border. Building a wall, in my estimation, was the wrong way to approach the thing.
Well, it's not the only approach. It was part of the solution, not the whole solution.
It wasn't. In my estimation, it was a bad solution. As we can see what happened with Israel. They built a wall, and everybody touted the fact that they built this wall to keep the Palestinians and Hamas out. Yeah. And what did they do? They flew over it, went around it, knocked it down.
Huh.
You know, I did say something that I probably shouldn't have said to him one day, and I said, if you're that hell bent on building a wall, then do like we do in North Korea. I mean, on the border between North and South Korea. Build a minefield that keeps people out.
I disavow that.
I don't. I don't. In respect to the fact that if you're going to talk about building a wall and all that.
Well, North
There
Korea
are
doesn't have an
alternatives.
illegal problem. That's I would guess that you're right about that. North Korea does not have a
South
problem
Korea
with
doesn't
immigration.
doesn't have a problem.
Yeah.
But what I will say with respect to all this is that it would behoove us in the long run to build a relationship with all of our neighbors, thus building our economy from the Canadian border south to all the borders that we have. We live in one of the most diverse areas of the world. And there's no reason why we can't build relationships with all of our neighbors. And it would improve our economy, it would improve their economy, and maybe some of this nonsense that's going on, it's not a liberal idea. It's something that Jesus would do.
I think that's what Trump was doing. Trump was building, he did, and I don't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, something like that, to replace NAFTA, which I think it might have been a mixed bag. It might have been kind of bad for us, kind of good. But he worked for mutual benefit, whereas right now we have an America that's working to harm our enemies, and we're harming ourselves by harming our enemies, trying to hurt Russia's military capabilities by wearing them down, by funding Ukraine. It's a mess right now. I think that Trump was doing just what you're talking about.
Well,
NAFTA, I heard, was really bad for America. That was under Clinton, maybe, or Bush or Reagan or something. I think Clinton. But it was really bad.
Who opened the door to China in the first place?
I don't even know. Probably both parties anyway. I think
that went all the way back to Richard Nixon.
Oh,
1974.
I like Richard Nixon. Take that back.
He did.
He may have done some wrong things. There's a lot of wrong things that great presidents do. Nixon might have been a great president. I'm not sure.
He opened the door to China. I mean, China was our enemy for decades.
Yeah.
And then in 1974, he opened the door to China, and it took off from there. But my thinking is that I like the fact that we're bringing a lot of our manufacturing back to the United States.
Yeah, me too.
It doesn't matter whether it's Trump or Biden or whoever it is.
Yeah.
I like that.
Me too.
In fact, here in the area of the country that I live in right now, if you were here, I could take you up and down our interstate here and show you all the building that's going on.
New Jersey, huh? That's cool.
Oh, man, that's crazy. It's
right
crazy
on.
What's going on here. Yeah. New Jersey is on a tear right now.
Right on.
We're rebuilding highways. All this stuff is happening right now. And the chip economy, China was holding us by the throat with respect to the manufacturing of computer chips.
Oh, okay,
They're building factories in the country right now to abate that.
We're bringing that here, huh? That's good to hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the fuel economy. Our fuel economy, I had an argument with Jesse when he said, Biden shut down.
I remember that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He and I, we argued about it. And he asked, well, who'd you vote for? And then I told him who I voted for, and I told him why I voted for it. And I said that pipeline that came from Canada down here, there's already 2 pipelines that exist. Why do we need a third pipeline?
Why not?
There's already 2 pipelines. Why do we need a third one? The third one would have taken it right through.
The more the merrier.
No, not the more the merrier.
I interrupted you. It would have taken it right through what?
It would have taken it right through the nation's largest aquifer.
Largest aqueduct?
Aquifer.
Aquifer. Is that Indian land? American Indian land?
No, aquifer is where fresh water is stored underground.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Naturally underground.
So we disrupted our water. We were going to disrupt our water supply to get oil.
We were going to take it through. In Nebraska, it was going to come down through the nation's largest aquifer. And you got to remember, up there, that's our heartland.
Well, if you keep it clean, if you keep it separate, then water and oil is a good thing.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you is that the same company that wanted to put this pipeline through has already had several spills. That's the problem. I wasn't against the pipeline; I was against the path that it took.
Okay.
But the other side of it is now, and this is something that's happened here in New Jersey, and we're here in the Delaware Valley, south and in the Virginia area, in the Midwest, out on the West Coast. They're building refineries. They're building hydrogen refineries because what we need is to have a diverse energy portfolio. We can't keep relying on just one source of energy.
Okay.
If we do, you know yourself, if we do, what's going to happen is the next time we have an Arab oil embargo or a pipeline gets shut down in this country, we're relying on one source of energy. And when that happens, it affects our economy directly. Yeah, we have oil shocks that affect our economy. You saw what happened here in the last 3 or 4 years.
How about we need nuclear energy?
I'm all for that.
Yeah. Clean.
The new fast nuclear reactors, clean nuclear reactors, yes, all for that. Solar, all that. You know, we have a big...
man,
found out that,
I got to cut you short. Chuck,
Yeah.
I got to... I'm coming to a close here, and I need to make sure I get my super chats in and stuff. It's great hearing from you, man. Call me again.
Will do.
Very interesting. Take care, man.
You take care of yourself now.
You as well. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Wasn't that nice? I love boomers. If I love anybody, hang tight, callers. I'll try to get to as many of you as I can, but I got to get to super chats. I am remiss in not getting to any super chats yet. Based America First bought a coffee yesterday in Derry, New Hampshire. These are always educating. Trump said, I will implement strong ideological screening of all immigrants. If you hate America, if you want to abolish Israel, if you don't like our religion, which a lot of them don't, if you sympathize with jihadists, then we don't want you in our country and you are not getting in, says Trump. He continues, we don't want you. Get out of here. You're fired. And that's the end of the quote. One can only hope he means demon rats, too. Whoa. Deport demon rats? Hey. The YouTube algorithm showed me this nice short about Trump, and he shares a short. And I'll have to share that with you guys maybe tomorrow. Nice. Thank you, Base America First. Barf Boy about a coffee says, Frog Eyes tarred till I die. Nice. I like that. Frog Eyes is a great band from Canada. Okay, Ego Israel bought 2 coffees. Thanks for signal boosting the Pocket article about a 34-year-old single millennial woman undergoing fertility testing who thinks her most fertile years are in her 30s and that it's China virus's fault that she missed her most fertile years of her early 30s. An adjacent article criticizes a 35-year-old being considered geriatric pregnancy because miscarriages and birth defects increase significantly. Whoa. The second article, see, I talked about them being deformed. The second article is correct that each woman is different. Some are born with more eggs, some fewer. And they lose them at different rates. However, it also points out that applying the original study metrics to new data gathered since reduces the age to 33 years old. Our hormone and industrial chemical-laden environment probably make matters worse for the ladies having babies. It's almost as if both articles were written by assisted reproductive technology, ART, beneficiaries. That industry makes at least $60,000 per patient. Whoa, I've heard about this. I think Base America First has talked about this before maybe. So why wouldn't it keep telling women to work in their 20s so that they can give their savings to doctors when they have trouble conceiving in their 30s? It's kind of like working so that you can pay for your car to get to work. Bill Clinton lauding his reduction in teen birth rate, not pregnancy, was coincident with pushing birth control and safe, legal, and rare abortion, which really meant on demand and funded by taxpayers. Wow, thank you, Ego Israel. Great super chat there on Buy Me a Coffee. Zuzu CC on with 3 coffees. Cheapo De Niro Sampson. And hair cutting emojis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. She knows my weakness. I accidentally told her when I got Never mind. Inebriated. I disavow. JC from Little Rock, Arkansas. Bought a coffee. Hopefully this is pithy, he says. The guy who had road rage in that clip on hour 3 of JLP today is how I feel when you react with our reactions that makes me happy. I don't know why I let you make me so upset, but a few people tell you you're wrong and evil. I might be a zesty, sensitive mama. He's using a American Anchor Baby / arty art word. But having you as my nemesis brings me joy. I just hope to make a positive impact. You choose to hate, I choose love. Back at you. You choose hate, I choose love. Speaking of which, I tell that race hustling boss of yours I said hi. And don't give up on the show. Be honest, inventing. That's refreshing. Okay. Oh, last question. How do you accept that you're my favorite Bond host? Laughing face emojis, like 7 of them or so. Well, I accept it. Let's see. The King of Graduates says, your music makes me envy Helen Keller, who I'm told by Big Bear was fake, a hoax. Carver bought a coffee. Hey, Hake was driving around with the woman. What woman, Carver? And decided to play Matilda the Gorilla on the radio. The response was typical, what is this? Why are we listening to this? And other various complaining. But I had fun and think I finally understand the joy of Hake music in the confusion and bewilderment of others. Say no to jumping, Jesse thumping, and yes to Hake bumping. Right on, Carver. That's funny. Great super chats, guys. My goodness. Hector in New Mexico. Man, so many of these callers, so many to get to. Call me tomorrow, guys, if I don't get to you. Hector in New Mexico on the line 4. What's up, man?
Hey, James. I'll make this quick. I know we're towards the end of the show here.
Indeed. 1 minute.
Okay, so I was listening. I've just been lurking in the past few days. I haven't been in the chat, but your last caller had stated something about Nixon, and it prompted me to call. I was going to see if you knew about this, but did you know the reason why Nixon had taken the dollar off of the gold standard was because the Chinese were buying all of our gold?
Oh, wow. So he removed the gold standard because China was buying our gold? Wow.
Yeah, and so he felt that it was necessary to act on that. So he took the dollar off of the gold standard, and they were supposed to he was supposed to restore it, but he never did. And I don't know why. I don't know why exactly he never did, but that's the reasoning behind that. And so yeah, kind of I guess a little fun fact there for you.
Interesting, man. I appreciate that. The plot thickens. See, we don't know the whole story. Thank you, Hector. Appreciate you, man. Call me again sometime.
By the way, your break song was really cool. I liked it.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Have a good day, James.
All right, you too. Guys, this has been the Hake Report. In Frederick, Brian, Rick, and William, and the rest of the callers, gotta talk to you tomorrow. I'm already late. Bye. Catch Joel Friday here. And this is Donut Man. Children. Adios, America. Bye.
Children, come and listen. Come and hear of Jesus' love. Children, come and see him. Come and see how Jesus loves. Children, come and touch him. Come and touch our Bible friend. Jesus, come and bless us. Come and bless us with your love. Children, come and listen. Come and hear of Jesus' love. Children, come and see him. Come and see how Jesus loves. Children, come and
everybody. This is gonna be great fun. Children, children, come and listen. Come and hear of Jesus' love. Children, children, come and see him. Come and see how Jesus loves. Children, children, come and touch him. Come and touch our Bible friend. Jesus, Jesus, come and bless us. Come and bless us with your love. 'Cause Lord, there's nothing better than your love. Come and bless us with your love.